What if I told you there was a better way to save money and do banking heading into 2023? My name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about exactly that. How can we be better bankers, better savers, and better investors as we head into 2023, a brand new year? The banking landscape has drastically changed over the last 5, 10, 15 years. Typically, and a lot of you grew up where you went to a bricks and mortar bank. It was on the corner of a popular street in your town, and RBC, TD, Scotia, HSBC, you name the bank. It was a big bank, nice building that you walked into, and you had your little booklet that you kept your tab on. Those times have changed. Yes, those are still there, don't get me wrong. They have big lineups out the door now because they're way understaffed, but there are two more options that you have, and a lot of you haven't looked at the options, and I think a lot of you are missing out. And so that's what I want to go through in this video. Before I jump into the content, I just want to say we are doing a Black Friday sale this year again, and we're going to start it today. So why wait till Black Friday when we can start the sale today? So if you go to parallelwealth.com/education, you will see our financial masterclass is on for 50% off. And we also have an OAS course. Now, if you buy the masterclass this year, we're throwing in that old age security course. If you want to just buy the old age security course, we have that on at 65% off. So great discounts there. Check those out, link below. And again, the financial masterclass is built for those of you between about age 20 to 45. It's kind of everything you should have learned in high school that we want to teach you now so that you can make better decisions moving forward so that you get to retirement in a good space. If you're getting closer to retirement, kind of 45 plus, masterclass, not as much for you. So if you're looking, getting older, getting closer to retirement, check out our OAS course or look at our full fee-for-service financial plans, which is probably more what you need. And that you can learn more at parallelwealth.com/planning. So let's jump into the content here. So I want to talk about kind of the three layers, I like to say, of the banking system right now. And the top layer is kind of the old school bricks and mortar, which I talked about earlier, which are your big banks, your major banks. Those are traditionally where we went to get our savings account, investing, our mortgages, kind of everything. Anything financial, we'd walk into the bank and someone would help us. And I remember as a kid even, my parents banked at RBC and I had the Leo savings account, which they had for kids. And I had my little booklet and I would write on it. Well, that has changed. I mean, my 4 kids have bank accounts, but they don't have booklets. It's all online. And they can log in and see their account value and put money in and put money out. And it's very fluid. It's very easy. But a lot of you are still at that first level at the major banks. The second layer would be credit unions. And in BC here, we have Coast Capital. I know they've gone federal now. They might be in your city across the country here. But locally, you'll have credit unions. Now, credit unions typically are kind of a hybrid. They have a physical location in your town, but they also are pushing more online. So it's kind of a bit of both. The third layer is fully online. And this is where I've kind of started to transition to firms like EQ Bank. There's lots out there. And I think that's what we have to look at is the online banking options now are vast. Doesn't matter which province or territory you're in, you're going to have options on the online banking. Now, it depends which province and territory you're in. Your options will be different. I like EQ Bank personally, and this is not an EQ Bank sponsored video in any means, but they typically have a really good savings rate. And right now their savings rate is actually 2.5%. Now that will change ongoing. So if you watch this video in a month or two, it might be higher, it might be lower, but it changes over time. But typically it's one of the highest rates out there. So the online banking system, let's talk about that here for a minute. Obviously, a lot of you that are used to walking into your bank, touching it, feeling it. I think as human beings, we like that physicality, right? And I think that's why a lot of people like real estate as an investment versus a stock, right? A stock is just something out there that you own that you can't really touch and feel. I mean, if you own McDonald's stock, you can drive by McDonald's and see the company, but it's not quite the same. With real estate, if you own a rental house, you can touch it and feel it and smell it. It's there. We like that physicality. And I think that's why a lot of you kind of have held on to your banks. Now, again, I started at the Royal Bank. I've transitioned to a few credit unions locally here that I work with that just save me money. I pay less fees. I get better service, in my opinion. And it's worked out really well. I've now transitioned a lot of my stuff to the online banking system. So for my savings and saving up for my kids' education, there's certain things that I use these high interest savings. So if I'm saving money for shorter term, I'll look at like an EQ savings bank account. We have recommended over the last about 6 months now, since GIC rates have skyrocketed. If you have short-term money, like we had a client not too long ago that said, I need money in just over a year from now. Perfect. Put your money in a 1-year GIC and you're getting north of 5% right now, which is bonkers. 1 year ago, 1-year GIC I think was 1.15. So that's how quick things can change. What doesn't change is that the online banking system is there and it's going to be there forever. Now, most of these online banks, a lot of people say, yeah, Adam, but RBC, like these big banks, they're secure, they're insured. Well, here's what you need to know. Here's a few of the benefits with online banking. Typically, online banks will be a division of a larger company. So I'll use a couple as an example. EQ Bank is owned by Equitable Life Insurance Company. Again, a very large Canadian insurance company here in Canada. Neo Financial. Neo Financial is another company. I have their credit card. They sponsored one of our videos before. They have a really good savings account. And they're even dipping into mortgages and stuff, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But Neo Financial is backed by ATB Financial, which is owned by the province of Alberta. So again, typically these online banks are backed by a very large company or financial institution, and a lot of times it's an insurance company. Again, look at the online bank and then look at who owns it. What's the financial security there? Most of the time you're going to be pretty pleased with who's owning it in the background. Now, as far as insurance, like CDIC insurance, protecting your money, majority, if not all of these online banks, again, make sure you check whichever one you're going to work with, make sure they're covered for CDIC insurance, which protects your money in case of fraud. Check into that. But again, EQ Bank, Neo, a lot of these online banks, they have that CDIC insurance. So a lot of you think, well, my money's more secure at the bricks and mortar. Most of these places, whether it's the big bank, the credit union, or the online bank, the security behind them, the insurance behind them, the CDIC, is the same at each place. So be aware of that. Do your due diligence and do your homework on who you're best working with. And the third pro here is that there's a lot of players in this space and it's only growing. And more competition is good because it drives rates up for you, savings rates up for you, GIC rates up for you, and gives you more options. I think what the online banks have done as well is they push the credit unions and the big banks to offer better rates too. Now, we typically see the credit unions and especially the big banks will have really good rates, but they're typically a promo rate. So right now, you can go to EQ Bank and get 2.5% on a savings account. You could also go to HSBC and get 4.9% on a savings account, but it's a promotional deal and it ends at the end of January, and then your rate drops to right around 1%. So if you have a lot of patience and a lot of time, maybe jumping around firm to firm makes sense for you to get that promotional rate and then jump somewhere else for a promotional rate. I like to just keep it simple, find a good solid non-promotional savings rate and lock my money in there. But there's definitely, if you're willing to kind of jump around for promotions, there can be some really good deals out there. I know Simply Financial is offering 5% right now. So again, read the limitations, the timeline, all that kind of stuff. But there are really good savings tools out there. And a lot of you have money sitting at your bank earning you less than 1%. You can double, triple, quadruple that savings account just by doing a few little changes. Now, some of the cons of online banking would be that there's no physical location. Again, I talked about it before. We like that touch and feel. We like to see it. And with online banks, you just don't get that. Right? So a lot of us don't feel comfortable. You know, you go to a website, well, is this real? Recently in the news, obviously, of the FTX disaster. And we read these things in the news and we're like, you know, are one of these online banks the next FTX? And again, this is where you have to do your due diligence to see like who owns it, where's the financial backing, the insurance, very different, right? I'm not comparing an online bank to FTX here, but we read these crazy stories like FTX and then we kind of lump in online banks to the same category. And we got to be careful we don't do that. The second negative maybe for some of you would be that you have to be a bit tech savvy. I mean, obviously the traditional banks, you walk in and someone will help you open up that bank account. With an online bank, you have to do it online. So you have to be able to kind of fill out the process and go through that online application on your own online. And it's not that difficult. A lot of you use email and, you know, a lot of our world right now is based online. So a lot of you are comfortable with that. But again, you need to open up accounts online. If you're transferring accounts, you know, set up that transfer, all that. So there is a bit more technicality to it, and you do have to be comfortable with doing stuff online. The third drawback to an online bank would be that there's no in-person support. And at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot of in-person support at the other two options either. And if you get it, you're waiting a very long time right now. Most of the support is now online. It's either online or by phone. What I do find though is a lot of the big banks and stuff, their online support is really bad. You have to call in, especially over the last couple of years. I've heard stories of people waiting 2, 3, 4 hours on the phone to talk to their big bank, which is absolutely crazy. Typically, the online banks also have online chat where you can get service fairly quickly. So the drawback is it's not in person, but the benefit is they're a tech-savvy company and they're there to support you through those means. So to me, the support typically has been a bit better, but you have to be comfortable with the non-face-to-face support. The last piece of the pie that I'll say for these online banks and online financial institutions is a lot of them are branching out and a lot of them are now getting into mortgages. And for instance, Neo Financial is offering mortgages, and I just checked online this morning, and again, these rates will constantly change. But the theme is your online bank is typically offering a bit of a better mortgage rate than your credit union or bank. So online this morning, I found Neo Financial 5-year fixed was 4.85%. Coast Capital, again, that's where I do a lot of my banking, was 5.44, and Scotiabank was 6.14 on a 5-year fixed. Again, these are posted rates. You might be able to go in there and get a bit better, all that. At the end of the day, though, if I went online and just looked at their rates, Neo Financial has the best rate out there, and it's substantially better. So as we get more competition in this space, which we are, it's going to be beneficial for you and I. We're going to get, again, better savings accounts, a better interest rate on our savings accounts. We're going to get better GIC rates. We're going to get lower mortgages. So keep an eye on the online banking space. Again, it's secure. It's there. Do your homework. Don't just jump into any online bank. Do your own homework. But I think you need to open up your eyes to that space. So as we head into 2023, take a review of your banking situation. What are you getting on your savings account? What are you paying for your savings account, for your checking account? A lot of you are paying $20, $30, $50 a month for banking, which is crazy. And again, a lot of you watching these videos are a bit older. A lot of these places offer free banking. They offer discounts for seniors. Check all these things out. There's always benefits for you. I find once you hit 60 years old, there's a lot of discounts. You just have to ask a lot of the time. So make sure you ask for those discounts. But time to look at your banking and see if there's a better option for you in 2023, because it not only could save you banking fees, but it could also bump up your savings power. If you can go from less than 1% to 2-3% on savings, it's going to help your money grow faster and work for you in these very challenging times. So thank you for joining us in this video. Again, I really hope that you take a deep dive into your banking situation to see, are you on track, or have you just been doing the same thing you've been doing for 10, 20, 50 years and not kind of looked at other options. You need to look at those other options. I promise you, a lot of them are very good, and a lot of them can make you a lot more money. And a reminder that we have our Black Friday sale on right now on our courses. Again, parallelwealth.com/education. We'll see you in the next video.